Glad to see you here again in our cozy corner. Tell me, does this feeling sound familiar? You wake up in the morning, full of plans, wanting to manage seeing the grandkids, working in the garden, and attending your favorite club. But by lunchtime, your energy just vanishes, as if someone unseen is pulling the plug on your energy. Or maybe your joints ache more often than you'd like, and the numbers on the scale stubbornly creep up, despite all your efforts. You are not alone. Many of us, having crossed the 60-year mark, blame it on age. What can you do? Age takes its toll, we sigh. But what if I told you that one of the main culprits for this quiet decline is hiding where we least expect it? It's hidden sugar. Yes, the very same that disguises itself in everyday foods like a cunning spy. It sneaks into our bodies with morning yogurt, with sauce at lunch, even with healthy whole grain bread. And what does it do? Imagine a roller coaster. You eat something sweet, your blood sugar level spikes, you feel a surge of energy, and then a sharp drop down into a pit of fatigue and irritability. These constant spikes wear out our pancreas and ignite silent inflammation in the body, like smoldering embers that undermine joints, blood vessels, and the brain. And all this under the guise of harmless foods. Forget the idea that healthy eating is complicated and tasteless. I promise, after you apply the simple tips from this video, you will feel a surge of energy that you may have forgotten about. Your digestion will improve, sleep will become deeper, and your mood more stable. And most importantly, this is accessible to every one of you, starting today. Let's figure out together how to neutralize this sweet saboteur and reclaim the joy of an active life. Watch this video to the end, and you will learn simple steps towards your renewed well-being. 1. Morning ritual. Let's start with the morning. Many of us are used to starting the day with a cup of tea or coffee with sugar, or maybe a glass of packaged juice or a sweet yogurt. Seems like a small thing, right? Just a spoonful of sugar or a healthy drink. But this is where the first trap lies. Replace sugary drinks and ready-made breakfasts with plain water, unsweetened tea or coffee, and choose natural plain yogurt instead of sweet yogurt. Let me tell you the story of Margaret. She's 68. Margaret always considered herself a creature of habit. Her morning didn't start without 2 cups of strong sweet tea. It's my little ritual, she'd say, my way to wake up and get set for the day. She complained of constant drowsiness by noon and aching knees, but linked it exclusively to age and the weather. When her daughter gently suggested trying tea without sugar or replacing it with water with lemon, Margaret was initially offended. What nonsense. That spoonful of sugar won't make a difference. I've drunk it like this my whole life, and it was fine. Doubt and even fear of losing that small morning joy, that island of stability, could be heard in her voice. It seemed to her that without sweet tea, the morning would become gray and joyless. But fatigue and pain were increasingly bothersome, and she decided to try, just as an experiment, as she told herself. The first few days were tough. The tea seemed bitter, her hand automatically reached for the sugar bowl, but she persisted. Instead of the second sweet tea, she started drinking a glass of warm water. What happened next? After about a week, Margaret noticed with surprise that the midday drowsiness lessened. She no longer felt like lying down right after lunch, and after a month, she realized her knees ached less often. How does this work? By removing the morning dose of sugar, Margaret freed her body from the sharp glucose spike. Her energy level became more even, like a calm river, not a turbulent stream. That silent inflammation, often the cause of joint pain, decreased. Margaret didn't lose her morning joy. She found a new one, the joy of lightness and energy. She started adding a slice of lemon or a mint leaf to her tea, discovering new flavors. The benefit for you? You'll stop being a hostage to these sugar roller coasters. Your day will start with steady energy, not an artificial high and inevitable crash. Try starting your morning differently for at least a week. You might be surprised how much better you feel. 2. Snack traps. Moving on. The time between breakfast and lunch, or between lunch and dinner. Does your hand automatically reach for something light? A cookie, a wafer, a candy, a healthy granola bar. We think it helps us hold out, gives us strength. But in reality, it's another dose of simple carbohydrates that only provide a short-term energy burst. Replace habitual sweets and pastries with a handful of nuts, walnuts, almonds, just not salted, fresh fruits, apple, pear, berries, or vegetable sticks, carrot, celery. Remember Arthur, he's 72. Arthur is a former engineer, a precise and somewhat skeptical man. His weakness was cookies. A package always lay on the kitchen table just in case. Especially after lunch, when mild fatigue set in, he'd make tea and eat 3 to 4 cookies. It's not much, he'd justify to his wife, just to perk me up. But after this perk-up, he often felt even more drained, and heartburn appeared by evening. When his son advised him to replace the cookies with an apple or nuts, Arthur snorted, "Am I a rabbit gnawing on carrots? Cookies are a pleasure, a tradition." He felt that healthy snacks were boring and bland. He remembered the taste of his grandmother's cookies. It was associated with the warmth and comfort of childhood. Giving it up seemed almost like betraying memories. However, Arthur's wife, concerned about his well-being and digestive issues, started discreetly placing a bowl of nuts and washed apples on the table. One day, reaching for the cookies, Arthur saw a handful of almonds nearby. He decided to try. The crunch of the nuts was pleasant, and the feeling of fullness came quickly and lasted longer. He ate a few and realized with surprise that the craving for sweets had passed. Gradually, he began to replace cookies sometimes with nuts, sometimes with a juicy apple. What changed? Firstly, the post-lunch heaviness and heartburn disappeared. The sugar and white flour from the cookies caused sharp sugar spikes and burdened digestion. Nuts and fruits, rich in fiber, protein, and healthy fats, provided stable energy and improved bowel function. Fiber can be compared to a caring gardener for our digestion. It gently cleanses and nourishes beneficial bacteria. Arthur noticed that his thinking became clearer in the afternoon, and his mood became more stable. He even admitted to his wife that the crunch of an apple now brings him no less pleasure than cookies. Your benefit? Stable energy levels without crashes, improved digestion, control over appetite and weight. Try placing a bowl of nuts or fruit in a visible spot instead of a candy dish. Make the healthy choice easy and accessible. 3. Lunch and hidden sugars. Now let's talk about lunch. Do you cook yourself or buy ready-made meals? Even in homemade food, sugar can hide where you don't expect it. This is especially true for sauces, salad dressings, canned vegetables, and even bread. Replace store-bought sauces, ketchup, mayonnaise, teriyaki, with homemade versions or simple olive oil with lemon juice. Instead of white bread, choose whole grain, reading the ingredients carefully. The story of Eleanor 70 is very telling. Eleanor loved to cook, but often used ready-made sauces for speed and richness of flavor. Her signature chicken always came with sweet and sour sauce from a bottle, and she generously added store-bought Caesar dressing to her salads. She was proud of her culinary talents, but suffered from bloating after meals and couldn't lose the few extra pounds that had stuck around since menopause. "But I mostly eat chicken and salads. Where's the extra weight coming from?" she wondered. It never occurred to her that a couple of spoonfuls of her favorite sauce could contain nearly a day's worth of sugar. When a friend, who was into healthy eating, pointed out the ingredients in these sauces, Eleanor was shocked and even a bit indignant. "It can't be. It's just a sauce, not a dessert." She thought making sauces herself would be time-consuming, difficult, and the taste wouldn't be right. She was used to the bright, enhanced flavors of processed foods. Her first step was to replace the salad dressing. Instead of the store-bought one, she mixed olive oil, lemon juice, mustard, and a pinch of herbs. The result amazed her. The salad came alive with fresh, natural colors. Then she tried making tomato sauce herself, from fresh tomatoes with garlic and basil. Yes, it took a bit longer, but the taste was incomparably better, deeper, and most importantly, there was no usual heaviness and bloating after eating. Why did this happen? Store-bought sauces are often a cocktail of sugar, salt, preservatives, and flavor enhancers. Sugar not only adds calories, but also promotes inflammation and disrupts the gut microflora balance, causing bloating. By replacing them with natural alternatives, Eleanor not only reduced her sugar intake, but also improved her digestion. She started feeling lighter, and after a couple of months, noticed that her weight was slowly starting to decrease. It was as if she had discovered the true taste of food, not drowned out by artificial additives. Practical benefit for you? Improved digestion, weight management, discovering new taste sensations, and more control over what you eat. Don't be afraid to experiment in the kitchen. A simple dressing of oil and vinegar or lemon juice can be tastier and is definitely healthier than any store-bought sauce. 4. The low-fat deception. And here's another very common trap that many of us have fallen into while trying to eat right: products labeled low-fat or light. Often, to compensate for the lack of flavor due to fat removal, manufacturers generously add, you guessed it, sugar. Low-fat yogurt, cottage cheese, or dessert can contain more sugar than their full-fat counterparts. Replace low-fat dairy products with additives with natural, normal fat products without sugar. It's better to eat a little natural cottage cheese or yogurt, adding fresh berries or fruit yourself, than a sweet, low-fat dessert. Listen to the story of David. He's 65. David always watched his cholesterol and tried to choose low-fat foods. His refrigerator was stocked with low-fat yogurts, with fruit fillings, which he ate for breakfast and as a dessert. He sincerely believed he was doing his heart good. However, he constantly battled cravings for sweets throughout the day, and his blood sugar level was at the upper limit of normal, which worried his doctor. I don't understand, he complained to the doctor. I eat everything low-fat. Where are the sugar problems coming from? He was convinced that fat was the main enemy, and simply didn't pay attention to the sugar in diet products. Choosing full-fat yogurt seemed like a step backward towards bad habits. The turning point came when he read an article about how manufacturers mask sugar in low-fat products. He decided to conduct an experiment. He bought plain, natural Greek yogurt, no additives, and a bag of frozen blueberries. He mixed them. The taste seemed unusually tart at first after the cloyingly sweet fruit yogurts, but he added a few more berries, and suddenly he felt the real, clean taste of yogurt and berries. Most importantly, after such a breakfast, the feeling of fullness lasted much longer, and he wasn't tempted to snack on something sweet before lunch. What's the secret? Healthy fats and natural dairy products provide long-lasting satiety and help stabilize blood sugar levels. In low-fat products, however, sugar causes a sharp insulin spike, followed by an equally sharp drop and hunger pangs, triggering cravings for another portion of sweets. It's like a swing that rocks your metabolism. David, by switching to natural products, not only gained better appetite control, but also noticed that his blood sugar levels gradually returned to normal. Your benefit: better control over appetite and sugar levels, longer feeling of fullness, getting healthy fats necessary for brain and heart health. Don't fear fat in natural foods. Fear the hidden sugar in diet traps. 5. White versus whole. Another important point is the choice of carbohydrates. White bread, white rice, pasta made from white flour. These are familiar foods that have been on our tables for decades, but they act on the body almost like pure sugar. They quickly raise blood glucose levels and don't provide long-lasting satiety. Replace white bread with whole grain, white rice with brown rice or other grains, buckwheat, quinoa, bulgur, pasta made from white flour with pasta made from durum wheat or whole grain varieties. Let's remember Helen. She's 75. Helen grew up on white bread, a sandwich with butter and cheese for breakfast, a slice of bread with soup for lunch. It was an unshakable tradition. She loved the soft, airy crumb of white bread. Whole grain bread seemed coarse, tough, and tasteless to her. Why change what I've been used to since childhood, she reasoned. But Helen often complained of digestive problems. Constipation was her constant companion, and after lunch with white bread, she felt irresistibly drowsy. Her granddaughter, a medical student, patiently explained the benefits of fiber found in whole grains. She compared white bread to a fluffy cloud, beautiful but quickly melts away, offering no support, and whole grain bread to a sturdy foundation that provides long-lasting energy and helps digestion work like clockwork. Helen listened, nodded, but was slow to change her habits. Her granddaughter used a trick. She baked homemade whole grain bread with seeds, fragrant and tasty. Helen tried it out of politeness and liked it. It wasn't as coarse as the store-bought kind, but satisfying and aromatic. Gradually, she started buying whole grain bread and brown rice. What changed? Firstly, her bowel function improved. The fiber, so abundant in whole grain bread, acts like a gentle brush, cleaning the intestines and stimulating their work. Secondly, the post-meal drowsiness disappeared. Complex carbohydrates from whole grains are digested more slowly, ensuring a steady release of energy without sharp sugar spikes and drops. Helen felt more energetic and lighter. She realized that familiar doesn't always mean best for health. What's the benefit for you? Improved digestion, stable energy levels, longer feeling of satiety, getting important vitamins and minerals contained in the grain husk. Try different types of whole grain bread or grains. You might find a favorite taste that turns out to be not only healthier, but also more interesting than plain white bread. 6. Evening temptations and sleep quality. And finally, evening. After dinner, do you want to relax? Watch TV with a cup of tea and something sweet? Or maybe you like to drink a glass of sweetened kefir before bed, or eat a high-sugar fruit, like a banana or grapes. This might seem like an innocent end to the day, but consuming sugar late can negatively affect the quality of your sleep and how you feel in the morning. Replace evening sweets with herbal tea without sugar, chamomile, mint, lemon balm, a small piece of hard cheese, or a handful of seeds, pumpkin sunflower. If you crave fruit, choose those with less sugar, like berries or grapefruit, if not contraindicated. Meet George. He's 78. George loved ending his day watching the evening news with a small bowl of grapes or a couple of candies. A little something sweet at night helps me fall asleep, he assured himself. However, he slept restlessly, often woke up during the night and felt drained in the morning, as if he hadn't rested at all. He blamed it on age, on senile insomnia. When his therapist advised him to cut sugar from his evening routine, George was surprised. How is that related? I only eat a tiny bit. He was used to this ritual, and the thought of going to bed without the familiar sweet taste seemed uncomfortable. What should I eat or drink before bed then? He asked, bewildered. The therapist suggested trying chamomile tea or a glass of warm milk, if tolerated, without sugar. George decided to follow the advice, though without much enthusiasm. Instead of grapes, he started making himself chamomile tea. The first couple of nights, it felt like something was missing, but after a week, he noticed that he was waking up less often during the night, and in the morning, he woke up with a clearer head and feeling rested. How does this work? Sugar before bed causes blood glucose fluctuations even at night. The body has to produce hormones to stabilize the sugar, and this interferes with deep, restorative sleep. By removing the evening sugar, George allowed his body to truly rest and recover. Herbal tea, conversely, has a calming effect. George realized that his sleeping aid in the form of sweets was actually stealing his quality sleep. Your direct benefit? Improved sleep quality, easier waking, better body recovery overnight, which directly impacts your well-being and energy the next day. Try replacing your evening dessert with a cup of calming herbal tea. Your sleep will thank you. So you see, my dears, the path to better well-being in our golden years doesn't require titanic efforts or completely giving up the joys of life. Often, it's enough to take a few small but conscious steps, replacing one habit with another, healthier one. Your life experience is an invaluable asset. Your wisdom allows you to see the essence of things. And you, more than anyone, deserve to feel energetic, healthy, and full of vitality to enjoy every day, connect with loved ones, and pursue your hobbies. Giving up hidden sugar isn't about depriving yourself of pleasure. On the contrary, it's an investment in the pleasure of living a long, active, and vibrant life. It's an act of care and love for yourself, for your body that has served you faithfully for so many years. Don't scold yourself for past habits. Just start taking action today. Choose one piece of advice from those we've discussed and try applying it for a week. A small step today can be the beginning of a great journey towards your renewed well-being. Remember, self-care is the most precious gift you can give yourself at any age. Start today. Take this small step towards your longevity and wonderful health. You can definitely do it. I believe in you.